Hi, folks. You might be aware that I've been traveling for the holidays. Unfortunately, I seem to have come down with something. I haven't been sick in a good long while, and even longer than that I've been sick like this. One of my family members has guardianship of a fragile special needs baby, and we can't have the baby getting sick with whatever it is that I've got. So I came home and will be spending a few days getting well. I do have a couple of words that you all have requested for word of the day, and we'll hang on to those until I can read them without falling into paroxysms of coughing. Until then, I'll find some episodes from previous years to run for you. I appreciate your thoughts and prayers as I get better. We'll talk soon.
Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for November 22nd. November 22nd is the 326th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 39 days remaining until the end of the year. In the ancient astrology, it's the cusp day between Scorpio and Sagittarius. In some years it's Sagittarius, but others Scorpio. See your local ephemeris for more information. And now to history. We're going to start in the year 1718, when the pirate known as Blackbeard was killed off the coast of North Carolina. On November 22, 1783, John Hanson, the first president of the Continental Congress under the Articles of Confederation, died in his home state of Maryland. Hanson is sometimes called the first president of the United States, but this is a misnomer since the presidency did not exist as an executive position separate from Congress until the federal Constitution created the role upon its ratification in 1789. This is the birthday of automotive designer Harley Earl, born November 22nd, 1893. He introduced concept cars, and the concept car that would eventually become the Chevrolet Corvette. He introduced the tail fin to the design of cars, and he lived to the age of 75. This is the birthday of Wiley Post, born November 22nd, 1898. He was an American aviator and lost his life in a plane crash with Will Rogers up in Alaska when he was 36 years old. On this day in 1900, the first Mercedes goes for a test drive. First car to be produced under the Mercedes name is taken for its inaugural drive in Cannstatt, Germany. 1942, Soviets encircle Germans at Stalingrad. You'll remember we talked about the Battle of Stalingrad the other day. What an ill-advised idea it was for the Germans to think they could take Russia. I mean, look at a map, for crying out loud. Little bitty Germany over here, great big Russia over here. What in the world could they have been thinking? Talk about hubris. And by now, this time of year, the Russian winter is gearing up. And so it is that on November 22, 1942, a Soviet counteroffensive against the German armies paid off as the Red Army trapped about 250,000 German soldiers south of Kalak on the Don River within Stalingrad. As the Soviets' circle tightened, German General Friedrich Paulus requested permission from Berlin to withdraw. The Germans should have withdrawn, but Hitler wouldn't allow it. He wanted his armies to hold out until they could be reinforced. Good luck with that, man. By the time those fresh troops arrived in December, it was too late. The Soviet position was too strong and the Germans were exhausted. And as I said before, winter, only a matter of time before the Germans would be forced to surrender. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was assassinated while traveling through Dallas, Texas in an open-top convertible. My goodness, anyone alive and old enough to recognize what was going on around him remembers that day. I was sitting in a classroom in New Orleans when the principal came over the intercom and announced it to the whole school. Every little girl in that room burst into tears, and probably some of the boys too. Mercy, what a time that was. 1972, the first B-52 was shot down over North Vietnam. In 1986, Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champ in history. In 1988, the stealth bomber was unveiled. In the presence of members of Congress and the media, the Northrop B-2 stealth bomber was shown publicly for the first time at Air Force Plant 42 in Palmdale, California. In 1990, Margaret Thatcher resigned, the first woman prime minister in British history, announced her resignation after 11 years in Britain's top office. And in 2005, Angela Merkel became the Chancellor of Germany, also the first woman to hold that position. And I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. As always, links to my research are in the show notes. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and feel free to share this video. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. One more time. Annie hears me talking. She's got to come see what's going on. Okay, lay down. That's a good girl. Good girl. Let's do that one again. Okay, hold still. It's not September. Blah, 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 coffee mug. It's late enough in the day that we're off coffee and on fizzy water. Just read the words. Just read the words. That's a lot of words. Hope I pronounced that right. It's either a squirrel or the wind. It's very windy today. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? She's not a man. Sure would be nice if I could ever read one of these in its entirety without having to start anything over. That would be awesome. I might have to take another look at that. I'm going to have to look at that. This is why I don't do live shows.